Njani. I hope Nyapila. I hope you're all doing well. In compliments of the season, Happy New Year. I hope your crossover was pleasant. I hope you're ready to leave behind 2025 and all its drama, as well as all of the all of the cycles that we were letting go of last year. I've actually been planning this episode since December. The first draft I had on my recording software is from back to like December 3. And I tried again the 7th, again on January the 3rd, the 8th, the 11th. And I've just come to the realization that I haven't been listening to my own philosophy of maybe if it's not working out, there's a reason for that. And so maybe the direction I was trying to take isn't the correct one because I have over 2 hours recorded, but it's just not sitting in my spirit well. I don't know how to explain that. As a writer, you know when your piece moves you, you know when you skip at the end and you don't go into as much detail as you've been doing the entire essay, and at the end you just sort of tie it up quickly. You can feel that. And so that's what I want to do with my podcast episodes. It needs to feel good. It needs to be in alignment with what it is that I'm trying to say. And when I'm done, I should be satisfied with, yes, this is it. So I don't want to go against this method because then I'm no longer being true and authentic to myself and to the message that is trying to come through. So if I'm not being authentic and true to the message, then I'm becoming what I don't want, which is a slave to the content. And that I've stated, I'm not going to be a content machine. I'm not going to now chase algorithms and quantity over quality, essentially. I want to do something because it moves me, because the message needs to land, because the people need to hear it, not because the algorithm says today you must post, or society or anything. No kind of pressure needs to be on this message so that the message is not diluted and it is as pure as is for the people who need to hear it. Anyway, 2026. Yeah. First and foremost, 2026 is a 1 year. We are entering a new 9-year cycle. So it's new beginnings, it's renewal, it's awakening, it's restoration. The planetary archetype that we associate with the number 1 is the sun. And the sun represents sovereignty, authenticity, identity, vitality, your life force, visibility. Also, you know what happens to things that come too close to the sun? They get burned by the sun. They get purified by the sun. If they're strong enough to withstand, that is. If they're not strong enough to withstand the heat, they get disintegrated by the sun. You see places like deserts and what the sun's heat has done to those places. It completely ravished them and left them barren. But you can also choose to look at that as a clean slate, as potential for something new to emerge. And that's what happens in astrology when the planets go too close to the sun, so close to the sun that we can't see them. And that's what's called a cazimi. When they get too close to the sun, first, their qualities get burned off. And so it becomes challenging to tap into those energies as the planets are combust. That's the astrological term. They get combust and combust and combust. But when they get to the eye of the sun, like right in the middle, exactly at the same degree as the sun, that is when we have a cazimi. And the cazimi is when this planet gets revitalized. It gets born again, it gets renewed. And so it emerges from that to start a new cycle around the sun with newer understanding, clarity, a new perspective on life. And so I think it's very fitting for a sun year, 2026, to start with three Kazimis. Venus Kazimi first, January 6th, and then we had the Mars Kazimi on the 9th of January, and the next Kazimi, which will be Mercury Kazimi, on the 21st of January, suddenly happens in a new sign. Whereas we had the two Kazimis and the Venus-Mars conjunction in Capricorn, the Mercury Kazimi is happening in Aquarius, right after the new moon in Capricorn. It's almost like February becomes this new ground that we step on. Suddenly, new eyes, new world, so to speak. It's quite a delayed start to the year or shift of energy, but it's very recognizable once it has begun. I mean, it's very jarring to have started the year with bombings. And I feel that does give a hint as to what's coming, but at the same time, I feel that we are not ready. We are not ready for what's really going to happen, for what they have planned. Because again, remember, Kazimis involve the sun and things that are hidden. So when you think about the sun is also representative of our leaders, governments, politicians, everyone who's got some power, kings and them, authoritative people. That's the sun. And so we have Venus, which is relationships, alliances. We have Mars, which is strategy, which is attack, which is combat, conflict. And then we've got Mercury, all hidden under the sun's rays. Mercury being communication, travel, and information. So when all of these three are hidden under the sun, all these three are hidden under the sun, it says to me that there's some information, there are alliances building, there's strategy, there are attacks, or there's action being taken that we're not going to find out about until these planets get away from the sun, until they are no longer being hidden or obscured by the sun's light. And this is where we finally get clarity sinking in of where we are right now sinking in. So remember in December, when the sun entered Capricorn around the 21st, 22nd, Mars was also in Capricorn. So it's been having this, it's been obscured by the sun for a while. Venus joined shortly after that. So whatever's happening behind the scenes has been happening for a while, and we just don't know about it yet. Even in our personal relationships, right? Because Venus is about relationships. It's about how we build connections with each other. And so there's a lot going on behind the scenes that hasn't been communicated yet. So when that Mercury Kazimi in Aquarius happens, shortly after we get Mercury conjunct Pluto and Mars entering Aquarius. Then the Sun conjoins Pluto. This is when the picture starts to form, because then new information comes to light. Oh, so this is what was happening behind the scenes all along, and we just weren't privy to it. So I'm saying all this to say that you don't have to have it figured out right now. Yes, we want to know what's going on with the year. We want to get our stuff started. We want to move. But it's okay to not know what's happening right now. And it's okay to pace yourself. Take it a day at a time, slow down, work with the information that you've got, knowing that there is still a wrench that could possibly derail your plans or delay your plans. Just pacing yourself, knowing that it hasn't really begun yet. 2026 is going to still change moods, if I can put it that way. I want us to get into the right frame of mind, get into embodying the sun's positive qualities. Because all planets have a shadow side. So being more authentic, thinking more about who am I? Why am I this way? Who do I really want to be? That's that solar shadow work that I was talking about. And I offer shadow work coaching sessions. I also have shadow work resources like books and PDFs for those who need guidance on this part of their lives. This is so important because, the sun is so important. It's so important to work on your sun because it is one of the biggest parts of your chart. Now, the sun, in fact, pop astro is pop astro for a reason. We flame pop astro for being too surface level and giving sun sign astrological interpretations. But the reason why it got so popular is because it does work. It's because there is a great pull that the sun has. So focusing or learning about your moon and your rising shouldn't take away from the fact that the sun is a huge part of the chart. And for the most part in the sky, the sun is the central figure that all the other planets revolve around. And we had people worshipping the sun. We have various religions where they worship the sun because they understand the sun's power. And let's humor them for a second and think about the sun as God and the sun as a creative force. And so if it says that it has given a piece of itself unto us, then we have a piece of the sun in us anyway. And that's what we see in astrology. Everybody has the sun, everybody has the moon, right? But yes, of course, I do believe that there's a creator that created the universe. And then I'm not saying that it is the sun. I'm just expanding a metaphor, okay? So in astrology, the sun represents your higher self. The sun represents your core identity, but it's also what you're meant to grow into. It also represents our vision. Speaking of vision, I wanted to discuss vision boards because I found that over the years, the idea of the vision board has gotten, how shall I say, capitalized, as in capitalism, because a vision isn't something that is yearly. I don't know if you understand me. You don't have a 1 year vision. It's not possible. So I find that the way that we're thinking about our vision is limiting. And so it also limits our ability to manifest. And so I want to do a separate video discussing the vision board, how to actually get your vision board to work for you, and just how to reframe the idea of what the vision board is. So I think it's very fitting to start this next 9 year cycle, starting out with the sun and getting us to reevaluate or to think about our vision, our long term vision. So now we've got this 9 year cycle that is beginning this year, and we get to reinvent or realign with our vision for the next decade. And so it's an incredibly powerful year to work on your vision and your vision board. And notice I said year because I don't think a vision board is something that you rush to do because it's January and you have to get it done so that you can have all your eggs in one basket for the year. No, I don't think that's the right approach at all. What we're looking for is alignment and not necessarily obligation. You get me? So, this year in particular is important for us to rethink our vision, to remember our vision, and perhaps realign with it or modify it here and there. Maybe it's changed. Maybe we are no longer the people that we were when we created that vision, and so we have to adjust it to who we are now and what we want now. I really want to focus on this theme for the entire year, but I'm going to do a separate video discussing the vision board and the vision for your life, as well as how to make it work based on your chart. Tune in. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Okay. I expect to, and I hope that this sun year allows us to see ourselves in totality. So that means not just the good, but the bad as well. And not just the bad, the good as well. And this is an important thing I want to talk about with shadow work. Shadow work requires a good amount of self-esteem for you to not spiral and send you into some sort of mental state. We need to be responsible with the information that we are sharing. And so if you don't feel ready for it, do not take it up. And if you feel that you need to work on your confidence first, then do that. Then once you have a clear view of this is what I am good at, this is my path, this is this is who I am, these are the good things about me, we can start to unpack, okay, where where do I fall short? Because if we keep you stuck in the where do I fall short, I suck at this, I'm always bad at this, there's no growth happening there. I'm not helping you in any way. The important thing, if you are in that mindset, is to first start with the positive. And this is what I call solar light and shadow work. Okay. With shadow work requiring some level of self-esteem, or a healthy level of self-esteem rather, this immediately makes confidence, or the desire to be confident, something that's not shallow. And I know that a lot of people they don't think confidence is important, or like they want it but don't really work hard to get it because you can live without it, you've been living without it. It doesn't seem like a big goal to have. But I'm going to challenge you to make that your first priority. Your first priority is to feel good about you first. That is the first shadow work of any kind that you need to do, because it all starts with how you feel about you. I can't help you with anything if fundamentally how you feel about yourself is fixed in negativity. Okay. So where the sun is in our chart, it shows us what we are naturally good at and where we should try to strive for authenticity and sovereignty, and putting our stank on it, making it completely us. So that's the sun part of our chart, the Leo part of our chart, the Aries part of our chart, every part of our chart that's connected with the sun. And this year, funny enough, we get a whole lot of solar energy that's happening. We have the Kazimis kicking off the earth. And then we've got Saturn and Neptune both entering Aries. So Neptune enters Aries first in January on the 26th. And then Saturn enters Aries on Valentine's Day. It's a little cruel. Saturn enters Aries on Valentine's Day. Aries is the sign of the sun's exaltation. It means the sun is comfortable there, does really well there, it likes being there. That means this Aries season is going to be it's going to be quite charged. Um, in March, Venus will enter Aries, then the Sun enters Aries on the 20th, and then Mars enters Aries on the 9th of April, and Mercury enters Aries on the 15th of April. All of it co-present with Saturn and Neptune and conjoining it at some point. The Aries part of our chart is going to get lit up like a fire. And the shadow side of that is that solar energy can be quite self-centered and selfish. Can't see what's around. They're blinded as well by their own light, I guess. But there's an element of that. So this puts particular strain on alliances, on connections, on relationships, forcing us to remember to find a balance between self and other, which is what Aries seasons all the time do. But this year, it's going to be with more seriousness as Saturn is there. Saturn wants to make things real. Saturn is saying, okay, is this the long and short of it? Is this what it's going to be forever? What's the structure? What's the container? What is this? What's going on? So it brings some sort of seriousness into the Aries parts of our chart. We can't be glib about it anymore. Things have to be serious because they have long-term consequences. But Neptune brings this confusing quality of, am I seeing this clearly? am I idealizing the situation? But also the ability to make visions and dreams come true. Interestingly, the Mercury Kazemi is going to happen in Aquarius, the sign that is the fall of the sun. And so that makes me think that perhaps the information that is revealed is not in favor of those who are in power or those who are famous. But anyway, Venus enters Leo on the 13th of June, and then on the 30th, Jupiter follows and enters Leo. So we get both benefics in Leo, which is really good for, which is really nice for the Leos. They get some positive boost from the Jupiter and Venus conjunction this year. And so there is some positive to be found from the Leo side of our charts. The only caution, or one of the few cautions that I have for Leo energy again, is that ego, that self-centeredness, that me energy, or over-promising, overextending, because Jupiter likes to give and Leo likes to be validated. And so people can go to extremes trying to do that. I also saw one of the astrologers saying that mega churches are going to be in the limelight with Jupiter in Leo. And I thought that was such a great analysis because Leo is fame, right? And Jupiter is faith, and leaders of faith, or what is it called? Like priests and, men of the cloth. But yes, I thought that was a great analysis, and I am excited to see what happens with that. I also think education and schooling is going to be quite interesting to look at that time, because Jupiter has to do with like expanding one's own horizons, right? And Leo is committed to self-development, no matter how selfish it makes them seem, right? And so when we have this energy sextiling Uranus in Gemini, it'll be recently ingressed into Gemini, which is the sign of also education and communication, is likely to bring about options, different options of learning, or introducing alternative methods of learning and teaching, right? So like breaking barriers and breaking down those barriers to education. So that, I think that's an exciting positive that we can look forward to. The Sun enters Leo on July the 22nd, and then on the 9th of August, Mercury enters Leo. On the 19th, the South Node enters Leo. So this is a whole lot of Leo energy. And the South Node in Leo, it's kind of bumming me out because we have this beautiful Jupiter expansion energy, and then you bring the South Node, and it just comes with that draining effect, stopping Jupiter from being as bountiful, as expansive as it can be. And so for Leos, this is going to be a year that is sort of bittersweet, where there's expansion and loss, gains and losses, growth, and also the past coming back and almost trying to hold you back. So it's bittersweet for the Leos who get to have this overlap, but I'll take the South Node being on my sign at the same time as Jupiter than just the South Node being in your sign with no cushion at all. So everything that the Virgos have been going through, the Leos are not going to go through, with being forced to come to terms with your past and the patterns that you continue to live out. So that is a whole lot of solar energy this year. And I think excited is the wrong word, but I am excited to see how it plays out. I think it's the wrong word because anything that involves politicians and leaders can go very, very bad for the citizens, for us small people who have no power and who are not filthy rich to build bunkers. But this does signal a significant pivotal moment in our history, which is what I'm excited for. So 2026 is a year of identity rebirth. So after all this heaviness and cutting away of the Mars 9 year, the Sun year brings new beginnings. It brings direction, clarity, a stronger sense of self if you let it. And it brings initiation energy. We're going to be in new territory where we have to figure things out, where we have to learn new ways of beings. So this is the moment where people step out of survival mode into creation mode. Mars has stripped things away. Now the Sun comes to affirm and ignite. So who are you now after everything you've shared in 2025 and in the past? What do you want to build in this new cycle? And what expression of yourself feels truest to you? The Sun highlights our self-expression, our being seen, stepping into leadership, reclaiming power, telling your story. So this is the year where people are encouraged to show themselves. Be yourself, show yourself. Many, we've been hiding, we've been healing, we've been recovering, but now we are coming out of our ndumbas, we're coming out of our caves, we're stepping into the light. The Sun is reawakening the creative passion. It's reawakening our inspiration, the desire to make something, to create, the return to joy and playfulness. The Sun also is associated with children in some traditions. So healing our inner child, healing our inner children is a great theme for this year, getting back to that playfulness. 2025 was like a lot of emotional labor and spiritual confrontation. But 2026, now it's the year of forward motion, self-expression, pure self-reflection, rediscovering your purpose or beginning to build towards a new one. There's a reason why we put things out in the sun. The sun is connected to life itself, to destiny, to clarity. Shadow expressions to watch one more time for the solar year is that ego. Gotta watch that ego, especially when Jupiter enters Leo. Burning out from doing too much, that's that overextension, that overexertion, perfectionism, fear of being judged, fear of being perceived, comparing yourself to others, and acting impulsively because you just want something new. you're feeling pressure to get things done or move too fast. Okay, and it's very important for us to pace ourselves, to ground ourselves, to align our action and our intention with our intuition. This year, I always favor grounding methods, but even more so when the sun and Mars are involved. Last year, we had a Mars here, and I was saying we need to get that grounding done because Mars can rile us up. It can make our emotions boil over. It can be difficult to control the fire. And with the sun, it's also fire. And the sun and Mars have a relationship because the sun is the vision, it's where we want to go, but Mars is how we get there. So it's very important for us to still do our grounding. And this year, I'll say, like, get out into the sun, take a walk, do your yoga in the sun, go swimming. The sun is going to be shining on you, you'll be absorbing it. Do your sun salutations, do your solar practices daily. Let's get back to some of the traditions and the customs that we lost. So a good way to work with the sun's energy is the solar shadow work that I mentioned, but also incorporating the sun into your day-to-day, maybe getting some sunflowers, wearing more yellows and reds and golds, something that's within the sun's color scheme, solar theme nails. And I will be wearing some gold jewelry. You can also shop this gold jewelry on my site. There are gold necklaces, pendants, and charms that you can add to your already existing jewelry. But having a sun symbol on you helps to anchor this energy and helps you embody your new cycle. Some collective themes we can look out for 2026. New leaders potentially emerging. Wouldn't be surprised also if they were young. I posted a thread on Twitter some time ago about how Gemini is about the youth and people who are intellectuals, right? And then Uranus is rebellious. So when we get this combination of Uranus and Gemini, we get charismatic leaders with who challenge our thinking. You know, they are revolutionary thinkers and leaders. So very likely for that to start emerging. More spiritual initiations coming through. We are reawakening. We are awakening after all. New creative industries forming. I'm excited for that one. More entrepreneurship. New or more heart-led entrepreneurship. Lots of shifts in self-expression and identity, which inevitably means a shift in the music, a shift in the fashion, a shift in art, because the sun is the creative force, creative expression. We get more me before we get the let's band together and be a collective and be one and work towards this shared goal. More boldness, more risk taking also can be good or bad, and just a cultural desire for something that is authentic. And you will see a lot of people have been saying, oh, influencers are going to fall off, or luxury influencers are going to fall off. People want something more authentic, and this is what they mean. We are inching in further and further into the age of Aquarius, which is also about being different from the norm. And so this year I feel amplifies that, with the sun also being about being authentic. It's that axis of authentic individuality. So 2026 is a sharp reset. 2026 rise like a sunrise, like we are awakening into a new identity, a new path, a new self, a new world. Scary, because change is scary, but also very, very exciting. To me, 2026 is a year of rediscovering yourself, recreating yourself, using all these new tools and resources that are going to be at our disposal with the innovation that we're going to see with tech, with the disruption that's going to come into the communication and education space, that's going to allow us more access to information, resources, knowledge, entertainment. I'm very excited for this new era of self-development. I guess that's the Leo in me, but I'm really excited to begin again. I would say I love a clean slate. I'll celebrate any new year, all the new years, because I love the opportunity to begin again. It reminds me that even every single day is another chance to change your life. So every day when the sun rises is a new day to make new choices, to take a different path. And this year, every day, I hope we remember that with the solar energy blessing us and pushing us and egging us on. Here's to a braver and bolder and more authentic self. Happy 2026. Marcos.